was oil leaking out all over the bottom of the engine. It's been a big setback. It was something that we didn't expect at all. We thought we were going to... I'm Melissa, and this is Ted. We bought a sailboat in the fall of 2024, and in real time, we're nearing the end of a huge refit. We're so glad you're here to catch up on the journey that brought us to this point. On the previous episode, we fixed everything that we could before running out of time as the freezing weather closed in. We provisioned and loaded all of our belongings onto the boat, and the friends that we'd made over the past month gathered to watch our launch the day before Thanksgiving. We stepped aboard with anxious excitement, as ready as we could be for several weeks of motor sailing from Massachusetts to Florida. But when the mechanic started the engine...
Uh-oh, blue smoke. We don't like that.
On Wednesday, when they put our boat in the water, everything was fine at first. There were no leaks or anything, and everything seemed to be okay. But then when the mechanic started to do his work with the engine, he found out that the crankshaft seal was leaking, so there was oil leaking out all over the bottom of the engine into the engine compartment, and he said it's definitely not something we can go all the way to Florida with, and it needs to be fixed. So they pulled the boat back out of the water, put it back in the sling. The broker drove 3 hours round trip that afternoon to go pick up the part that was in Connecticut, and we're waiting for the mechanic to put the part on, which he's going to do tomorrow. Now it's actually Saturday of Thanksgiving weekend, and we've been working on the boat, just finishing more projects, and we went and got some Black Friday deals for warm clothes and things that we need for our trip, and right now we're in our room at this cute little Airbnb that we've been staying in for the last week or so. About 3-minute drive from the boatyard, and the girl who hosts us is really nice, and her house is really comfortable and decorated really cute, and we actually went out for dinner with her on Thanksgiving night and got to know her a little bit. So now we're just finishing everything up and getting ready to splash again on Monday. We were supposed to get put back in the water on the Monday after Thanksgiving, so we were working hard all Thanksgiving weekend in the freezing cold, trying to finish every project on the boat, and the mechanic was here working. Had to replace the seal on the crankshaft. He was replacing that. I was provisioning, and we were doing all the last minute stuff, and late Sunday evening the mechanic discovered that there were additional problems in the engine. He couldn't get the compression in the engine to work properly, so he said there was no way that we could take the boat to Florida that way, and there was no way for him to get the parts at that point. And on Monday the yard here is closing down, and it's just too late here. There's no docks in the water, there's no way to get in the water at this point. So
Here's the boat going back in storage.
our boat was relocated to the last open spot in the boatyard, the one they had reserved for us in case the worst happened. And indeed it had.
Not fun.
The boat is going to be stuck here all winter They've got it put up in the yard, and we've had the mechanic winterize everything, and we're going to get the boat shrink wrapped to keep the snow off it. That's what they do with boats around here. All the boats around us have already been wrapped for a few weeks, and it's really sad because we had a great weather window. The weather has actually been very calm and would have been really easy for motor sailing, which is what we were going to do with the missing sails that we have. It would have been a perfect time to go, but we can't go. But we're packing up our clothes and electronics and other things that we'll need for the next 4 months or so, and we'll be heading back to Florida. We got to find a temporary place to live, and then we'll come back here in April and start working on it all over again. So it's been disappointing, and it's been a big setback. It was something that we didn't expect at all. We thought we were going to be able to get out of here beginning of November at the latest, and we won't be able to leave until the 1st of May probably. So this is not what we had planned, but we're trying to make the best of it, and we'll see what happens. We're getting ready to leave the boat. Here's our Land Rover that the car rental place gave us. We reserved an Equinox, but they didn't have one, so they said we could have this Land Rover instead. We've spent the past few days cleaning and organizing inside, and we packed the clothes and electronics we're bringing to Florida for the winter. We removed the food and liquids that were in danger of freezing and brought aboard damp rid packs to prevent mold growth. We arranged for shrink wrapping. We prayed over Selah and locked up her companionway for the long winter ahead.
We actually tucked the boat in for the winter. So what's remaining on major engine stuff is a head gasket and the turbo. But when he pulls the head off, he's going to inspect what's going on inside the cylinders, and he's going to check for scoring in the cylinders and check the pistons to make sure they look okay. Unfortunately, we have to put a brand new turbo in. The fins on the turbo are like really damaged, and the seals from where the oil cools the turbo has basically failed, and the oil is going into the air intake side of the turbo and just spewing oil everywhere around the engine and stuff. We're inside making this instead of outside because outside is 25 degrees, feels like 15. So we're ready to get out of here. Yeah, as you can see, we got all our stuff in the back that we're bringing back to Florida with us. And then we come back pretty much the end of April, beginning of May. And then we've got some electrical stuff that we have to take care of and a few other things, and getting the boat ready to go. Feeling a mixture of emotions right now. We're sad, but we're kind of anxious to be getting out of the cold, and we don't really understand why this is happening, but we're hoping that we'll discover that somewhere along the way. Our ways are not God's ways are not our ways, and we don't always understand these circumstances and situations we're in. But if we keep faith and hope in God, and keep moving forward, this is that moment where we have to like stop and pause and just ask God what's the new direction you want us to go in, and He'll make it clear. On our way out of town, we had to stop for one more Boston cream because, we are really close to Boston, and this really cool little coffee shop called Changing Tides is a couple blocks from the boatyard, and we've been here several times.
And on Fridays they have these delicious homemade donuts, and they're just like amazing. And there's so much cream inside, it's just incredible.
It's pregnant.
So we're gonna enjoy this donut. And we're off, leaving Massachusetts, leaving Selah behind for the winter. We are finally back in Florida as of yesterday. We've been traveling for the last week and a half or so since we left Massachusetts. We went to visit my aunt in Michigan, and I was able to see some of my old elementary school and high school friends while we were there, and a couple of cousins, which was great. We're leaving Michigan, heading south. It's snowing and blowing. Not great conditions on the road, but once we get about an hour south, the lake effect snow will stop. But it's kind of messy right now. Are you happy that we're leaving the cold? We took a break in Kentucky and spent a couple of hours at the Ark Encounter. It features a full-size Noah's Ark built according to the dimensions given in the Bible, which means it is 510 feet long, 85 feet wide, and 51 feet high, with 3 levels. It would completely dwarf our sailboat, Selah. We arrived later than we had planned due to the slippery roads, so we didn't have much time to explore the exhibits inside the Ark, but the exterior and grounds were decorated for Christmas, and we enjoyed the beautiful lights. Then we went on to North Carolina, where we spent some time with Ted's aunt and uncle, and then we spent a little bit of time with our son outside of Orlando, and now we are in Titusville, checking out some marina and boatyard options for when we bring our boat down later in the spring. It's really nice to be back where it's in the 70s and we don't have to put on layers and layers and long underwear and winter coats just to go outside. It's nice to be back here on the west coast of Florida. Feels like home, smells like home. And it feels like we've been gone from here for a really long time, even though it was only 2 months. We're missing the boat, but we're glad to be here with family around the holidays. Happy New Year!
Happy 2025. We wanted to give you a quick recap of 2024.
We're staying at my parents' house right now because they're on vacation, so we're house sitting for them right now. And it's beautiful here.
Last year this time we were scrambling to get the house ready to put back on the market because we had a deal go south on us just before the year, and then so we took it off the market to go through the holidays with our kids. And then we finally landed a contract about 6 weeks into it, and then it was a scurry to get everything done for that and closing, and that happened around March, the middle of March, yeah. We already had an apartment, so we decided to continue downsizing stuff and selling stuff and going through our storage unit, and just enjoying the summer.
Yep, we enjoyed living close to the beach and being able to walk in the preserve, and it was a great location for us.
Yeah.
Till we were able to negotiate a deal on this boat.
Yeah, but during the summer we looked at lots and lots of boats. We traveled all over. We found some that we kind of liked in Florida, close to us. We decided to bounce all the way up the East Coast and look at boats on the way up, and on the way down. And we looked and we found a boat, and we went and took a look at it and started checking all of our boxes. And we spent a couple of hours. We came back, made a low offer because we knew that there was stuff that had to be done, and the boat was already priced below what the other ones in that size were selling for, and that's what attracted us. And because normally it would be out of our price range. Finally, after about, 3 months, accepted our offer, and so we scurried and sold everything in the apartment. That was a challenge.
That was a crazy weekend.
Yes. And so we threw everything in the smallest little U-Haul truck they had, and we ran up there to Massachusetts, and then we worked very diligently. Very extreme conditions for us. It was very cold, and there was more stuff that went wrong on the boat than what we thought and what we had priced into our price, but we just kept pushing through. We met some really great people there, and those people inspired us to keep going. And met a guy that his dad was a pastor, and he put us in touch with him, and we were trying to hurry up and get in the water and go down south before the weather just closed us in. He prayed for us, and then gave us a word that we felt like was from God, that basically indicated that you'll know for sure if it's good, you're good to go, and everything will fall in place, or the door will shut, and you'll know right away that this is not a good decision to go. And the very next day, the door just completely shut, and we just felt confirmation in that. And so we put the boat back in storage, had it all wrapped up, and we drove back down, and here we are.
We're trying to get organized for a few months of winter here that we're going to be spending in Florida. Be taking some sailing courses, just finishing up some projects and things here.
Yeah, so lots of stuff to cram into a 4-month window to get ready for everything.
Thanks for sticking with us to the end of the video. Join us next time as we spend some time relaxing in Florida after weeks of exhausting work in the boatyard. And then we'll get ready to return to Massachusetts for more boat work.